and welcome to the gardening module of the Food Families program. My name is Vanessa Kinsley and I am a supervisor of community development with the City of London. I am involved in the Community Gardens program here in London and have been for about 8 years now with the planning of community gardens in parks. I also am a gardener at home and I have raised bed gardens and have also had a community garden before in a park here in London. So I'm very interested in vegetable gardening and hopefully can provide some good information and support for you through this module. So again, this is an elective module, so it might be a good idea early on in your program to gauge whether or not your participants have an interest to participate in the gardening module. It's a really good opportunity to add to some of the other modules in the respect of being able to actually provide your own food towards preparing and eating all of this good food that they're learning how to make. So in this module, it really is an introduction to gardening. So it's a really good high-level overview of gardening basics, providing the participants some information on how to get started, what materials they might need, and then what kind of benefits they're going to get out of growing their own food. It'll start off with a welcome and icebreaker like many of the other modules, and it'll be a fun activity where people will get to know each other and have some laughs and really break the ice, as we say. Now, it will move on to the benefits of growing your own food. Now, speaking about the benefits, it's a really good idea to first engage with your participants and get them talking and sharing some information about any previous experience they may have with gardening. So whether that be family experience from when they were younger or current experience, it's a really great way to get some more experts out there who can provide information to other participants, and also just to get people talking about why they're interested in growing their own food. And then once you've gotten that kind of conversation going, you can talk about the specific benefits of growing your own food, which can be things like access to fresh produce day to day, which is a great thing to be able to pick your own lettuce and make a salad in the evening is really a great reward. You can also save money by growing your own foods in your home or outside in your yard. You can connect with others, especially if you're willing to get involved in a community garden to get a plot or to gather with a group of neighbors to start a gardening project. It also can help you develop a new hobby if you're interested in doing that, just as a way to gain new skills and do something fun. It also provides a sense of pride, of course, which comes from growing your own food and then being able to share it and eat it yourself. So the types of gardening we discuss in this module are 3 types. The first is backyard gardening or community gardening, so really planting seeds or plants right into the ground or the soil. The second is raised bed gardening, which can be anything from boxes flat on the ground, or for accessibility, perhaps some people want to have a raised bed garden, which would be at a level where you can wheel a wheelchair up to or stand and garden at. As well as container gardening, which is a really great way to introduce people to gardening because you don't need a lot of space and can do it inside or outside. So the module will also provide a lot of information on planning, preparation, planting, and maintaining your garden. Again, a very high level overview of what you need to do all these steps for your garden, and will allow you to get all the information you need and about which materials you'll need to get and how people will be able to effectively grow and maintain their garden to get the maximum amount of produce that they can get through growing their own food. So we're going to focus on container gardening because, as I said, it really is a great introduction to gardening and provides people with a really accessible, easy way to grow their own food either inside or outside. So whether or not they have a balcony or a yard or don't have an access to an outside space but only maybe have a windowsill, you still can do container gardening. So that's a really good thing to bring up to people because a lot of people might think that if they don't have an outside space, they can't grow vegetables or herbs, and that's just not true. So that's a really great introduction into the activity that you'll be able to provide for participants, which is really actually starting seeds that they'll then be able to grow in their home or out again on their balcony or in their yard. So the activity, I'll walk you through it now. is getting some pots. And again, we got these kind of medium-sized plastic pots, which again have holes in the bottom to be able to drain the water out later on. The size that you use is completely up to you. If you only have access to smaller pots, that's totally fine, because they can later be transplanted into larger pots if need be, or into a container that people might have at home. You also can ask if the participants have their own containers they'd like to bring in, and that might be a really great way of saving money, or for people to feel like they're contributing to the module itself if they have something to donate and bring to the group. Now, we've put in a sort of standard potting soil with some extra fertilizer included, but really you should be able to ask whoever is working at the store where you buy the soil the best type that would be for vegetables and herbs. So you can buy these kind of things, the soil, the pots, the seeds as well, from any kind of a store, like a hardware store, grocery store, gardening store, obviously greenhouses. They all have these kind of materials. So anything from Canadian Tire, Home Depot, Superstore, and then, like I said, gardening centers all have this kind of stuff. The seed packets that we got are tomatoes, peppers, and chives, and they all say right on the packet that they can be planted in containers. So if you're unsure as to which types you want to grow, you might want to look at the packages in the store and see which ones can be used in containers. And this is even an opportunity earlier on in your modules to maybe ask the participants what they'd be interested to growing, so you can plan ahead. Today we're going to plant chives. And the chives have, and all of the seed packets actually, have planting instructions right on the back of the seed packet. So for chives, it tells you the seed depth, which is 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters, the seed spacing, which is also 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters, and the row spacing. Now, because we're planting right into a pot, we don't need to worry about rows. However, we want to look at how far apart to put the seeds themselves. So if we're doing about 1/2 inch apart, I can easily fit 4 holes and four little sections of seeds in this pot. As you can see here, I've just used my finger, which is a really easy way if you're not digging down too far, which like I said, is only 1/2 inch. So using a trowel or something like that in a small pot with small seeds, not necessary, but trowels are good if you are going to transplant the plants later on into a larger pot. Now, when you're putting the seeds in the holes in the soil, I usually like to put at least 2 or 3 seeds per hole to make sure that they germinate. So we want to make sure that they turn into little seedlings. And if you're putting 2 or 3, then the chance that you'll get at least 1 is much better. So after you get the seeds in the holes and get it all covered up again with the soil, the next step, of course, would be watering. Really important step, obviously, to get the seeds growing and sprouting properly. Now, something to keep in mind is that we have allowed a lot of time for this activity. So there's lots of time for discussion and chatting about different methods if people have some ideas about how they would do it themselves if they have past experience, and also opportunities for you to help some of the participants if necessary. So no rush here, you have about 45 minutes. Now, you also have access to some other supports and information if you're not comfortable to deliver this module on your own. That's totally fine. We do have a Community Gardens website on the city website, which would be able to be reached at london.ca/communitygardens. There will be additional information about either registering to join a community garden in your neighborhood, as well as some other gardening resources. And of course, you can always contact your Food Families Program Coordinator as well to have another facilitator come in during this activity or for this module to help out. That's not a problem. Now, make sure also that you go through the wrap-up and evaluation included in the module for the participants, so they'll be able to fill out a survey and let you know how it went and what they thought about the module. So more than anything else, of course, have lots of fun, get people talking, learn some new things, and develop some new skills. It's all about having fun, engaging the participants, and learning some new things.